Welcome to the Get Published podcast, sponsored by Brodie Consulting Group. To get more information about our coaching, publishing, executive ghostwriting, and podcast production services, go to getpublishedpodcast.com. Hello, I am Paul Brodie, and thank you for joining us for another episode of the Get Published podcast, where we help authors get published with a proven system that works. And today, we're being joined by Mary Yuan, author of Where is Home? Mary, welcome to the show.
Thanks so much for having me, Paul.
Well, we are thrilled to have you. Are you ready to begin?
Yes.
All right. Question number 1. What is the one piece of advice that you would give to a first-time author who is currently writing their book?
Well, I would say that my advice would be done is better than perfect. What I mean by that is sometimes you just gotta write that shitty first draft. Because this is the advice that I will give me when I first started my book, is that I always strive for perfection, and it took so long for me to finish my first manuscript. And my publisher have just been telling me, just Mary, done is better than perfect, and you can always improve over time. So it's definitely a process. So I would encourage other first-time authors right there, just believe in your voice, believe in your story, and just get it done first. And then, improve over time.
Well, that's one of the main philosophies I talk about with my own clients is, first of all, is don't be afraid to take the plunge. But the second, it's done is better than perfect, definitely. Well, what do you feel is the hardest part about getting published?
I would say is finding the right publisher. It's because, and again, it's like a startup pitch. Essentially, at the very beginning, it's basically finding what's the soul or what's the theme of the book, and find the right publisher who can match perfectly with what the book is about. I believe that is a very challenging part. But again, as long as one is always relentlessly trying to reach out, trying to find the right folks to talk to, I believe that can definitely be achieved, to find the right publisher at the end.
Well, let's talk about marketing. So please share a marketing strategy that you have used in your book launch that has worked well.
I would say for me, it's really building genuine connection. I believe when we talk about marketing strategy, people think about social media, people think about build a perfect Instagram visual or the perfect LinkedIn post, and etc. But honestly, for me, it's really get down to the core, which is if we build a genuine connection with each one of the audiences that we speak to, I would say that will have an exponential effect later on, because those people will be a natural marketer for your book later on, because they already know the value of my story. So I would say when it gets down to strategy, it really gets down to the basic, is building genuine connection.
Well, and that's going to be our hook for the show, because you're absolutely right. Building that genuine connection, that's what brings in the revenue from a business perspective. No one cares about a pitch or a script or NLP psychology or anything like that. I mean, what truly works, what I have seen with my own businesses, is it's all about connecting with the other person. And if you can build that genuine connection and they can see that you're real, then real recognizes real quickly. And it's the easiest way. You have to be able to connect, because that is so much more powerful than any pitch, any script, any type of, new trend. I always call it the shiny object syndrome, where people are going for this new thing or the old thing. But what really works is building that true, genuine, authentic connection. And that's what makes all the difference. So what are some of the strategies that you have used to build that genuine connection?
I think it's like old-fashioned first LinkedIn outreach message, right? Whenever someone posts something, engage with their content first. If it's really genuine, related to me. And again, I always, because my book is about finding home and cultural identity. So whenever someone shares their story about finding a sense of belonging, how to find their tribe, I always engage with them first. And then each time they will notice, Mary is the person who pay attention to my story. So then that already built a trust early on. And then that's how we get into DMs. And then that's how we hop on a chat. So, I think old-fashioned phone calls is always the best way to go at the end.
And that's how we close all our business. Just getting on those strategy sessions, getting on those calls, and building that genuine connection. And I refer to that too as the KLT, right? Know,
Yep.
like, and trust, and just building that relationship over a little bit of time.
Absolutely.
Well, speaking of books, I'd like to know what is your favorite book, and what was the number one thing that you learned from it?
I would say that's a tough question. I have so many, but if I have to choose one, I would say The Glass Castle by Jeanette Walls. It's such a beautifully written memoir, and I learned so much. It's like my model. It's one of the book models for my book, actually. So one thing that I learned from it, I would say, is the power of being vulnerable. I think for Jeanette, her story is absolutely vulnerable, and the way she tells her story, there's no hiding from the audience. She literally tells all those, stories of growing up in her family in such details that I feel so, I would say, personal. It's like it instantly draws me in. And I think one thing I learned from it is to be tough when life really gets in your way, and things really hit the fan. Shit really hit the fan. You really just have to run at it instead of feeling like you're a victim or something. So.
And what was the name of the book again?
The Glass Castle.
The Glass Castle. I want to check that out. I always love it when authors speak up vulnerability. That was always my philosophies with my books, because nobody wants to hear about an author that lives a perfect life, because first of all, it's not authentic, it's not genuine. And then when people can actually see your struggles and your challenges, that's how they connect to you. I mean, all of these pieces, they all connect together.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And that's how we feel relatable to each other.
Absolutely. Well, Mary, for our final question, what is your favorite quote and why?
So I would say the favorite quote is actually from the book itself. And it says, "If you don't want to sink, you better figure out how to swim." Why I love that quote is because it's so applicable to a lot of things in life. Is that really, when you get to that moment, you got to make a decision. If you don't want to sink, you just better figure out how to deal with it, how to swim.
Mary, I want to thank you for being a guest on the show. What is the best way for people to find you online?
The best way is actually go on LinkedIn and send me a DM. I've always loved to chat with people, just Mary Yuan. And I look forward to hopping on more phone calls with folks.
Mary, thank you once again for being on the show, and I wish you all the best in your author journey ahead.
Thank you so much, Paul.
Thanks again for joining us today. To learn more about how to get your book published with a proven system that works, grab a free copy of my book at getpublishedpodcast.com.